So hi, how are you?
I'm really good. I am the Aspen Times columnist, and I do write a column called the Aspen Princess, and I've been doing it for 14 years.
So tell us about the column.
It was originally called The Princess's Palette, and it was supposed to be about food and restaurants in town. So somehow it morphed into this almost like a caricature of myself, where in the early columns it really had a distinct kind of voice and attitude, and then over time it just became the persona, and I just morphed into it. And I never intended any of that, really. I just sort of adapted this sort of voice of this self-proclaimed princess. And honestly, I can't believe nobody tried to run me out of town or was offended by it. I think it was I think the spirit of it being kind of outspoken and honest and authentic was welcomed from the start. And people really appreciate the honesty, and I think that, they always ask me, how are you so honest? And I'm like, why is that so unusual? Are people supposed to be honest? So it's second nature for me to be open and wear my heart on my sleeve. And a lot of people know that both my parents are shrinks, so people go oh yeah, that explains it. And so I've basically been documenting my entire life and love ever since. I'm like the Truman Show. And so people always comment to me that they feel like they know me so well, and they've watched me go through, originally I wrote a lot about basically life and love, so it was a lot of dating, a lot of the partying and that lifestyle of Aspen and snowboarding and all these things. And now I'm married and I have a baby. I have absolutely no awareness whatsoever of my audience. You have to remember, I'm sitting at home alone, you can relate to this, in front of my computer, and I don't work at the Aspen Times. I email my column every week. So I'm by myself, and I forget, it's so second nature to me, I forget that anybody is reading it. And so it's really interesting when I go out and people are excited to meet me, and they tell me that they feel like they know me. And now I've become more conspicuous than ever because I have the pug, I have the baby, and I've written about my car and my husband. And so sometimes people stop us and they're like, oh my God, are you the princess? Although I joke that I've gone from Aspen Princess to Desperate Housewife of the Salt. But it's so rewarding though and gratifying, and it makes me feel good.
And you happen to marry somebody who is actually a celebrity in his own right.
Oh,
as well,
you would
right?
be so happy to hear that.
Well,
he literally was a maintenance man at Centennial, and he was probably the antithesis of what a Jewish American princess is supposed to marry. I mean, I'm supposed to marry a doctor or a lawyer, and what's really funny actually is when I met him, and we met at the Sky Hotel on New Year's Eve, and I said, of course, being a little brat New England girl, I'm like, where did you go to school? And he said, Brown. And I was like, ding, 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 like I won the lottery. I'm like, you went to Brown? He's like, Brown College Radio Broadcast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So he was a radio broadcaster for a long time, and in that regard, we're a lot alike. He's definitely a personality, and he's a voice, and he's loud and boisterous, and he is totally unintimidated and unfazed by anything I have to say. It's just my personality. I definitely don't try to be funny, because that's a bad way to go.
Right.
And what's really interesting is that I always, when I think something's so funny, I've had times when I'm doubled over laughing in my, by myself in my house, and then it's like crickets when the column comes out, and I'm on Facebook yes, anybody read my column today? And then when I write it in 15 minutes and I'm running from here to there, and I'm oh my God, this is so embarrassing, I can't believe I'm gonna publish this. Those are the ones that everybody likes. So when my dad says I'm good at making the ordinary extraordinary in kind of a Seinfeld-esque way, and that's why people can relate to it, because it's I'm writing about what everybody feels and thinks, and that's when I really strike a chord with people. And I think being a princess in Aspen is not that unusual, really. And so when I kind of make fun of myself, and that's the thing too that's important to reiterate, is that I never want to pick on someone else.
And you have a whole history of journalism as your background, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I did get a degree in journalism from the University of Colorado Boulder, and I was really fortunate because I got to do the program as an undergraduate. And I do write real journalism. That's the other thing a lot of people don't know about me, is they think of me as this sort of wise ass. I work with all the local magazines, and have written feature material that has nothing to do with, that's not humor driven at all.
So where to from here? That's the big question.
My purpose and intention is to write a goddamn novel. Can I say goddamn?
You can do whatever you want.
I've been talking about this for so long that I know the people that are out there rolling their eyes right now, I know who you are. Yeah, and I love being a mom. I never thought I would. It's the best gift of my life. And I'm madly in love with my child, and I wonder what was the point before. So I get to live here, and this is the source of all my fodder and my inspiration, and we're just so lucky that we get to be in such a beautiful place that is inspiring every day.
And the opportunity is so here, which is what you touched upon earlier.
Yeah, the people that come here and the resources that are here exceed any major city, but you're in the same room as the people that you need to meet.
But you have to work for it.
Yeah,
you have to make it happen.
And you have to have the talent to back it up, and I think that's really important. And I feel so lucky. Like, this is just my calling. I never chose it. I never decided I'm going to be a writer. When I was 6 years old, there was a house fire in my parents' house, and my typewriter melted, and I was so devastated. So that was like my favorite thing, was my typewriter. And I asked my mom, like, why did I have a typewriter when I was 6? She's like, you love that typewriter. And I've been sort of documenting everything ever since. With
Not
diaries
to date yourself or anything. I don't know if anyone knows what a typewriter is these days.
Oh my God, it's so funny to even say that. I wouldn't even think that. Because I'm still at 15 in my mind, so it's kind of a problem. And I love getting emails, so please email me anytime you have any thoughts, comments.
Well, it's so good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
The AspenRealLife Show.
Okay.
And I look forward to more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you. We'll get the whole family on here.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.